I would like to ask my first question to Mr. Gio Rahman, Country Manager Production, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Africa. And before that, for the kind information of all the panelists, we'll ask question to each of you, and we'll request you to keep your answer by 4 minutes. So why I'm asking the question to GSR first, because I see you are one of the first from the brands in the newspaper said publicly that Bangladesh apparel industry can achieve the $100 billion export milestone by the year 2030. So we'd like to hear from you first. So my question to you is, from the buyer's perspective, where are the major improvements needed, you think, to reach the USD 100 billion milestone by 2030? If you kindly share your thoughts.
Thank you so much. First of all, it's really a pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful event happening. So thanks to Bangladesh Apparel Exchange and the man behind of this, Mr. Mustafis. Look, 100 billion or 50 billion or maybe 150 billion, it's a number, but I think that's most important. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that's more important. Bangladesh is graduating from a LDC country to middle income country. I think we should act as a middle income country citizen. That's very important. So if you take that mindset and at the same time then you start looking into things, so what do we have? What problem? What's the journey we took? It's a journey of 40 years for this textile industry. It just grew in one way. Now it came to a mature level. I think we should challenge ourselves more. Well, if I stop this hypothetical discussion, let's talk about the reality, what is happening. For me, it's a two different. One is a quick win, which is a low-hanging opportunities. If you talk about efficiency, if you talk about waste management, if you talk about product development and innovation, these are one of the quick fix. We shouldn't even think about it. We should be doing it probably yesterday. If you go to most of our suppliers, I'm not talking everyone, the weakest organization is the R&D. The merchandiser who is not performing well become an R&D. That's a old reality. And I'm a Bangladeshi. I work more than 10 years in a garments factory. So that's one thing. I think we really need to invest over there, the human, because the man behind the machines bring everything. If you ask any Turkish supplier or the supplier who are world class, or maybe some of these Chinese international suppliers to send their profile, they will never send the machinery list. They will never do that. Because if you are a producer, if you're a manufacturer, you should have the machine. That makes you a manufacturer, right? So I think we need to understand our role. People who send the profile means what is the product looks like, where they work with the innovation, how they showcase them basically. Do my people understand what is happening in the fashion industry? If you don't have, you're much, it's like not only one step, probably 5 steps behind the race, right? I think we need to fix that. So those are low-hanging opportunities we should be able to work. Then you talk about a strategic approach. And a strategic means then you need government. Okay, we have a honorable secretary here. Then you talk with the government, hey, I need you to be, adjust this policy. Let's talk about circularity policy. This is works again there. Those are the strategic part. If you ask government to say, oh, please help me, this one, that one. COVID time, Bangladesh government help. Big thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister for that. This will not come every day because that's their role. So the government have their own role where we need to pitch the strategic part. We as a manufacturer, if we can do our role, the quick win and enrich our human, man behind the machines, I think the future is ours.
Thank you very much for your optimistic opinion. So, regarding the circularity, I would also like to share one information to all of you that for the first ever Circular Apparel and Textile Summit and Circular Economy Summit will be happening in Bangladesh, organized by Bangladesh Apparel Exchange as well, on 15 June 2023. And if you see in your back, there is a stand, and on the stand, a QR code is engraved. So you can easily register for the summit by scanning the QR code. So please do that. So before coming to Mr. Mohammad Shamsi Tabriz, I think even we achieved the $100 billion export milestone, the biggest challenge will be our logistic. So my question to you, is our supply chain management or the logistic ready to handle the USD 100 million export? And what need to be addressed in terms of logistic to achieve the milestone by the year 2030? If you kindly share your thoughts.
Thanks for your valuable question. Thanks everyone to be as an audience over here. And thank you, Moses Bhai, for making me a part of this panel. 2023, if you ask me this question, obviously the answer is no, we are not ready. But then again, what we see, what the development that's coming, like we all know the new terminal for the airport is coming up, Terminal 3, end of 2023. The new deep sea port, which is also expected to become in 2027, beginning of that. And also the ICD, which currently we are having, which will be expanded, and there is a new ICD in the pipeline coming in Derasrom, which the work will be starting in 2026 and expected to be finished by 2028. So yes, gradually we are moving to that position where we can say that yes, indeed we are ready, but strategically we need to make more developments, and these developments, obviously, as Ziabai mentioned, that we need support from the government side as well, since you know that there are a lot of infrastructure development still needs to be done. We are talking about deep sea port, which will be a biggest thing that can happen for Bangladesh, where mother vessels will be coming and taking the boxes from here. A lot of concern which currently the manufacturer and the consignees are having nowadays, which will be removed easily because the boxes will be loaded from here, will be arriving in Europe and USA. So the development that we need is definitely roads, infrastructure, the train movement, which is again one of the sustainable approach, which is one of the most hot topic nowadays, that needs to be taken place. The train movement from Dhaka or Chittagong to the deep sea port. So if those things are in place, gradually what we can foresee, definitely we can be ready by 2030. I'm very optimistic person, and I do see, like as Yabai mentioned, numbers is a factor, the mindset is the game. So we all need to think towards the positive mindset that we can make it happen, and that will be a game changer for a country like Bangladesh.
Thank you for your valuable thoughts. And innovation undoubtedly will be one of the key in our progress, in our growth. And the very theme of this year, this edition, the Bangladesh Denim Expo, is also leading the innovation. So my next question is to Mr. Gihan Palihena, Director, Asia Product Supply Chain Asia. And I also welcome Mr. A.H.M. Hassan, Vice Chairman and CEO, Export Promotion Bureau, EPB. Thank you, sir, for your kind presence. So to continue our discussion on the topic, so my question to Gihan was, how buyers could contribute in accelerating the innovation, since innovation is important in the growth. And could you please share some of the recent examples of contour in the area of apparel innovation?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, and thank you, Mustafiz, for inviting me and making me a part of this valuable work. So, as a brand, as buyers, there are a few things that we can do to collaborate innovation. We can work with suppliers, manufacturers, get feedback from our consumers, and also diversify product and look at sustainable product. So as Contour, we do have few initiatives that what we are working on. Some of the things are like material sustainability. We use the recyclable polyester, and then organic cotton. Also, on technology-driven initiatives, we do Wrangler. We use 3D denim and laser technologies to get the right fit based on, again, feedback from our consumers. And also on the consumer driven and on sustainability side, we work with technologies to reduce water consumption, especially on the indigo for our denims, like technologies like foam dyeing, which will greatly reduce the usage of water, and at least about 4 to 5 of our vertical partners, we are working with them finding solutions. So with this kind of innovative methods, I think we can get feedback from our consumers, look at sustainable products, and then we can also work with our manufacturers to enhance product processes to achieve innovation.
Interruption. We also welcome Mr. MD Shoidul Azim, Vice President BGMEA, as one of the panel speakers. Thank you, sir, for your time. Yes, again, you can continue your answer. Yes.
Yeah. So so those are some of the things that, as a brand, that what we do for collaborating and taking initiative for innovations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing some of the technical details. And I think innovation will do very important for the growth. And I would also now like to ask the question to Mr. Shoidul Azim, because the $100 billion export milestone that we are discussing actually set by BGMEA. So I would like to ask Mr. Shoidul Azim that why actually BGMEA set the target of USD 100 billion export by 2030, and where are the opportunities you think?
Thank you very much. In fact, we have set up the vision $100 billion by 2030. There is many valid reasons to justify. As you know, we are second largest RMG exporter of the world, and our share in the global market only 6.3%. So there is a huge opportunity to go ahead. And in meantime, earlier we have, in 2021, we are supposed to make it $50 billion. Despite of COVID and others, we reached about $45 billion last year. So I hope we can carry out our growth. In meantime, and we have calculated in a very conservative way. While our growth was 15-16%, we have calculated 11% growth per year to reach $100 billion by 2030. In meantime, there was a lot of transformation in our industry after Rana Plaza, and it was a turning point for us to rehabilitate the garments, to remediate garments. We have sent all the small factories to outskirts of the Dhaka in a big way. And now the most preferable hub is Bangladesh for global buyers and buying sources in terms of workplace safety, fireplace safety, building integrity, etc. So we also have a vision that immediately we have organized the sector for sustainability, and we did a lot of job. And all the factories, they're going forward with the right way, with the internationally compliant requirement and all. In meantime, our government has taken a lot of mega projects Few of them already completed, which could be another strength for our industries to go forward. Though the $50 billion and $100 billion are almost double, we have to go for the more infrastructures. Our government is working on it. As you know, after 2026, we will be come out from the LDC country. We will be graduated from LDC country. At that time, we had you have not enjoyed the duty-free access. So BGM has taken some initiatives, something like as apparel diplomacy. We are working with our customers, European Union, different countries, to extend that period from 2026 to 20. I think they'll make it 2029, but still we already behind 4 years for COVID, for geopolitical crisis and all. So I think if you go in that way, in the right way, it would not be difficult for us to reach $100 billion. If we dream something, we have to dream big. At least we can go close to that one. That is, in fact, our vision.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. And I would like to ask the question to now Mr. Abdul Rahim Khan, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Commerce. And we all know that our GSP facility has been instrumental in our export growth. And still now, around 60% of our apparel export goes to EU as a whole. So my question to you have actually two parts. We get confusing information about how long actually we will have the opportunity to enjoy the GSP if we become a middle-income country. Some of information we get that we will be able to enjoy the GSP up to 2026. Some say up to 2029. Even we see we can even achieve or enjoy the GSP facilities till 2039. So being the export wing head of the Commerce Ministry, my first part of the question is, after being a middle-income country, up to which year Bangladesh can enjoy the duty-free export to EU under the present GSP scheme? This is the one part of the question. And the second part is, even after being the middle-income country, we will have the opportunity to enjoy the duty-free if we obtain the GSP plus. So how optimistic are you about obtaining the GSP plus and why?
Thank you. First, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to organizers, in particular Mr. Mustafiz, to invite me to this, I should say excellent, 14th edition. This is my first time visiting the Denim Expo in Bangladesh, and I'm really impressed by the show and the participation from various parts of the world. So congratulations, Mustafiz, and Bangladesh Denim Expo. Coming to your question, first is that the target is really modest. 100 billion by 2030. If you consider the volume of GDP now, it is $465 billion like this. So, you know where it goes in 2030. And if you see the share in GDP, the apparel export from Bangladesh, 100 billion is not really a number to be really concerned. And in 2015, the volume was probably $25 billion. So you see, by 6-7 years, we reached $48 billion. So it will not take even 7 years to be 100 billion apparel market for Bangladesh. So this is my first comment. And now coming to your question in particular, that the GSP You know, in USA, we don't have any GSP. But USA is the largest market for Bangladesh apparel. So whenever I go somewhere, we come across that GSP is the playing pivotal role for our RMG export growth. I really sometimes do not agree. When buyer comes to Bangladesh, he has this mathematics in his mind. So when he, argue with the price with our manufacturer like Shafiul Azim, they know, buyer knows that how much benefit you are getting from domestic part and how much benefit you are getting from the market. So they calculate and come up with a mathematic and fix the price. So my second impression is that GSP is not really that instrument helping us to grow. All right. Okay, now, we are now, developing countries since 2015. And at the moment, we are upper middle income country. If you reach MIC, middle income country, you really do not need any sort of duty facilities from the advanced economic countries. It is you yourself can make the footing to be more competitive with the other countries without any duty-free, quota-free access. So GSP particularly, designed for the countries like in EU it is up to 29 since we are graduating in 26. In Australia, we'll enjoy this benefit. In UK, according to DCTS, we'll continue to enjoy. But the question is, when you become middle income country, you really do not qualify for GSP and you really do not need even. So now question comes how we get ready for that time. There are a lot of points, mentioned by a speaker on my right and left that it is productivity, it is technology, it is innovation. And this is, Bangladesh is already has proven its worth and capacity to be a leading, enterprises in the world. And this is why we have now numerous platinum category factories, not only in RMG sector, in other sectors as well. So reaching the goal 100 billion to me is not, it's a modest target. Probably before 2030, our industry is going to achieve this target. And if you become middle income country, life is more easy. You are automatically competitive with the other countries where you really will not look for this kind of market facilities. I hope I stop here now, and if any issue coming later in the table, I would like to participate again.
Thank you so much for your insights. And now I would like to come to Dr. Bernd Speiner, Deputy Head of Mission European Union in Bangladesh. And of course, even if we become a middle income country, there is opportunity to enjoy the duty free by achieving the GSP plus. So if we get this, of course it will be added advantage. So my question to you is that, what do you think, how prepared is Bangladesh to obtain the GSP plus? And what are the areas where major improvements you would like to see in the industry to achieve the GSP plus?
Yeah, thank you for being here. And again, thank you to Mustafiz. You have to know, when Mustafiz calls the European delegation, we're always happy to come because we know he has a vision and he thinks always ahead of things, and his motto is nothing is impossible. So that makes him a very good interlocutor for us to see where things are going in Bangladesh. Now, to answer your question first, the dream of 100 billion, it sounds ambitious, but we think it's perfectly possible. Why am I saying this? Because we saw that the exports to the EU just last year were up by 50%, which is absolutely phenomenal. And if you count in that you may have additional export to China, I agree with Rahim that I think this is perfectly possible aim. Now, but I would also say that the fact that Bangladesh had tariff-free access for the past 2 decades, and the EU is the biggest export market. Okay, US as a single country, but the US the biggest export market. And to my knowledge, I think the exports have also grown faster than into the US. So I'm sure that the tariff-free access to our market had a role to play in here. And again, this tariff-free access will persist until graduation, let's say 26, plus a transition period 29. And the question now is, if you wanna achieve the 100 billion, what happens after 29? Now this is where the GSP Plus question comes in. Let's say you don't have GSP Plus. It would mean in some areas that the tariff would go up from 0% to 12. Now nobody can tell me that this wouldn't have a big impact on the export. So GSP Plus would moderate this shock, let's say, yeah? And many of the areas would remain tariff-free, and some would have only moderate tariffs. What has to happen that Bangladesh keeps or achieves GSP Plus in 29? There's one big thing I just want to mention. For us as EU is key, and this is the reform of the labor market. So there's a national action plan for labor reform in the labor sector. And for us specifically, reforms in the Labor Act, in the labor rules, which we want to see implemented and which we are monitoring together with the Ministry of Labor, together with the Ministry of Commerce. We're getting updates every 6 months of what the state of play is. And for us, this is very important that we have these targets met. And if we don't meet these targets, that would be a bit a backlash on the road to GSP+. That's one thing. The second thing which we see a bit of concern is you had tariff-free access for 2 decades. Diversification hasn't really happened. I think even in the garment industry, you have the same set of 5, 6 products: t-shirts, jeans, trousers, jackets, sweaters. We would like to see a transition to more high-value products, because in the long term, we do see as a EU that Bangladesh, as nice as the garment sector is and works, it is over-reliant as far as exports go. And this is why the new GSP regulation, which is still under discussions, has these provisions for, which we call safeguards, that would require an economy to diversify, also to have more other export products. And this is where we see big potential to Bangladesh. As good as the garment sector is, have more high-value production, have different sections, and then you will achieve the 100 billion dream with no problems. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now, as we know that EPB is playing a crucial role in promoting export in Bangladesh, so I would like to ask the question to Mr. A.H.M. Hassan, Vice Chairman and CEO EPB. And my question to you is, what role the EPB can play to facilitate the 100 billion export? And also, what are your expectations from the stakeholder like apparel manufacturers and buyers in this regard?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Mustafiz for inviting me to this big gathering. Basically, Denim Expo is a well-known event in Bangladesh. It is a signature event, but unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to visit this fair earlier. Anyway, first of all, I like to echo with my colleague, Additional Secretary Rahim, that $100 billion target for 2030 is not a highly ambitious target. I might say it's moderately ambitious. And if we do some simple mathematics, it is definitely achievable. But then again, I am a student of economics. We always say one thing, that ceteris paribus, that all other things remaining constant. If there is sudden changes in any policy, if there is any disruption in the world market for some reasons, then there might come challenge. Now, if we come to your question, what kind of promotion we can do from the EPB? If you look at the current scenario, in international trade, it's the issue of demand and supply. But if you look at the recent statistics, in last month, we had a negative growth in export. Our export in last month was $3.9 billion, whereas in earlier few months, we had average export of $5 billion in 1 month. But this is happening, only because of the problem in the demand side. In supply side, I am very thankful and grateful to the entrepreneurs. They have come up long way. They are doing their best. But as the demand is shrinking, so we could not export what we wanted to. But looking at this picture, what we are trying to do is to promote this product. We are participating in the international trade fairs across the world. But again, we are having some problems because of these reserve issues. To participate in international trade fairs, we need to spend a lot of US dollar or foreign currency. But despite this challenge, we haven't stopped attending all these fairs. And then we are also focusing on a little bit of non-traditional market. Instead of going to all the fairs in the European market, we are focusing on Japan, Australia, Africa, South America, all these countries. So we are trying to also having regular contact with the BGMEA, BKMEA, and other stakeholders to address any situation they come up. So I am hopeful this year, though we may not be able to achieve the target that we set, but definitely we will have positive growth. That is our calculation and understanding. But then again, you see, I like to echo with our colleague that we always talk about the diversification. And I believe diversification is not only the horizontal diversification. We need to have this vertical diversification. You all are well aware of this. Though recently we are seeing some changes, but that is not enough. We need more value added. Instead of producing $30 value of shirt, we need to produce $300 worth of suit. So if we can do this, that will help us. And secondly, you can only export when you can supply quality product at a competitive price. That is the bottom line of the business. No one is your dear friend. No one is going to help you unless and until you qualify this. And with this, another thing comes is the compliance. And Mr. Mustafiz is working on this compliance issues for quite some time. And I believe after 2026, these two issues, compliance and standard, it will be a big issue for Bangladesh to maintain. So I am hopeful that Bangladesh will be able to achieve this $100 billion garments export target. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. So now the floor is open to the audience, and I believe the audience will also grab the opportunity to ask questions to the very dignified speakers on stage. And before coming to question, I would also now, after all the discussions, once again ask you, how many of you believe that Bangladesh can achieve the $100 billion apparel export by 2030? if you kindly raise your hands, how many of you believe? So I think the number of believers have been increased after the discussions. So, okay, so now, before asking the question, if you kindly share your name, your company name, and also share to whom on the panel you want to answer your question. So, volunteers, if you kindly hand over, so could you please raise your hands who want to ask the question? Yes, the person on the front row.
Hello, I'm Amir Salim. I'm a manufacturer here, and I appreciate Mr. Mustafiz for arranging all this beautiful arrangement. I have a question that might not be in many of your minds, because we are saying either it is achievable or not, $100 billion. Of course, I think we are ready. The government support is there. Infrastructure will be there. Manufacturers are very much they're ready to do the growth, but considering the minimalist next generation, who doesn't want to buy much, is the world ready? I mean, maybe we are ready, our infrastructure and everything, but is the world ready to buy $100 billion from us? Especially I have from H&M and Contour, even that means they have to make it more than double of what they're buying from Bangladesh now. So that point of view, I think nobody talks about it. So that is my question. Anybody is most welcome to answer. Thank you.
So I think if kindly Mr. Gio Rahman and also after that Mr. Gihan.
So much. Sorry. Well, we have a very big presence in Bangladesh already. And I was talking here just before coming here, roughly around 40% plus in our sourcing, we do it from here. Obviously, geographical perspective, we have a 6 to 7 weeks lead time. So that we need to balance as well. So even though we produce faster here, reaction to the fashion, we are always behind. We stopped taking goods by year because of our carbon footprint. We do it everything by sea for the, our commitment to the carbon footprint and others. And we are very committed to it. It's not easy to decide those things. So having said that as a context, if you said that, okay, to make it a double, I think I will even ask myself that, okay, how many eggs I will put in one basket. So that's one thing. We have to work with our nearshoring and others. Well, I'm not going to say that, okay, I'm going to pass the ball to somebody else, that, hey, we're already big, we're going to go over there. I think this market, if you look at the product that we do a lot of basic product, which came probably 20 years ago. The basic T-shirts, basic 5-pocket, basic shirt. And then I think we already capitalized that opportunity. We have to start looking into the top product now, basically, like our honorable, dignitary from the EPB says, that the product with the $300 FOB, like the suits and others, jackets and others. So we need to look into that. So that's one way of looking into things. There is another part as well. For the woven perspective, like in denim we do a lot of fabric here. There's a lot of still material come from China. So that's basically we do a single transaction. We have the opportunity to do the double or triple transaction as well. It came from cotton, then to the yarn, then to the fabric, then to the product. So I think we need to understand the whole basket rather than saying, hey, H&M, will you increase? Because we have our own strategy. The industry should have their own strategy as well. If that match, this is a great country, I would say. And I'm a Bangladeshi, so I'm even more prouder here. Because we grow over 40 years, and it has the potential to grow. But it will never grow the way we grow last 20 years. The next 20 years will be completely different. It cannot be the same way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, if Gian also touch upon the question.
Yeah, I think Zia touched based on many other points. So, like Zia rightly said, when we are looking at a number, what kind of value addition Bangladesh can make? Right now, there is. I do believe there is excess capacity for denim in Bangladesh. The focus, everybody is focusing on denim. there are a lot of other categories. Like I see the grip of casual wear woven products is being a little less. Then again, so when we talk about apparel industry, I think it's apparel and footwear. So there is a lot of other products which has a high value. One example is like outerwear jackets, even footwear, and all that. So so this number, like many other people said, it's just a number. What is the strategy Bangladesh has to achieve that, right? So again, fabric, synthetic fabric and other fabrics is a major component. Like he said, that a lot of comes from China. I don't see any mills coming up. There are some plans I see, but very few, I think, looking at different fibers and all that. So there has to be a strategic plan. There has to be a focus. With that, I think the value addition will come. It's not whether the brands are ready to buy this number of, and also like nobody will want to put all their eggs in one basket. Even as a brand, I would say about a 40% of our production is right now in Bangladesh. So we will also try to do risk mitigation. So, but what is the strategy that we have? Yeah, that's what. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, I think Azim sir also want to, yes.
Okay? Yeah. In fact, what Mrs. Jia was telling, and also he was echoes the same. Earlier, we were just basing on 5 basic products. 76% we were working with the 5 basic products. In terms of product price value, we have to go further. That should be our target. In the meantime, last couple of years, there are a lot of investment for value-added products, something like suit, blazer, lingerie factories is coming up in big way. And there's a huge opportunity for that man-made fiber also, for which we are working. And in meantime, we have several sessions with government also for such kind of product. We have to prepare ourselves. In future, we have to go not with the quantity. We have to go with the quality, high-value product. That should be our main thing. Otherwise, if quantity is more, because earlier we focused on only for quantity, we have to go forward with the value-added product, for which we are preparing ourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we got the question. So, yeah, got the answer, sorry. And now we will get, we cannot take more than 3 questions. So, first, Mr. Kamal sir.
Thank you.
So, if you ask your question, yes. And also, if you tell whom you want to answer your question, yes.
Okay, fine. This is Mohammad Kamaluddin, Managing Director, Talk Fashions Limited. And I would like to give thanks Mr. Mustafizuddin. Today, this session is very, very important and very relevant to the BGMA, because BGMA is working on this. I am a part of that, because I am representing, this Standing Committee Trade Fair. So, $100 billion business, we are promoting business already. BGMA identified that instead of cotton, we have to go for a man-made and synthetic item. Now, worldwide demand is more than 70%. Whereas we are exporting more than 80% of the cotton. So, demand is going reverse actually. So, you have to go for diversification. So, thank you, Hassan. Mr. Hassan is here because I had a scope to discuss with him, and our another government body, Commerce Ministry, is here. BGME fixed the target, 100 billion, and they are trying to accommodate how to proceed, and they already identified what they have to do. Instead of cotton, we have to go for a synthetic and man-made fiber. In target that actually we have gone to India twice, thrice. I think Mr. Azim is here actually. I was also part of that road show we have done, and we have informed, was in Surat, because Surat is the half of the synthetic items and man-made fiber. I would like to questions this to body actually. With the BGMA, what if they have any thought? Actually, what they are going to do with us if they have their own plan? Because we are always telling them this is what we are doing, this is what we are doing, going to do. And if Commerce Ministry and then EPB, they have their own plan or thought also, if they can do with us, and it will be actually easier for us to to achieve $100 billion business. Thank you. That's all.
Yes, Mr. A.H.M. Hassan sir, if you kindly share. He was asking that whether you have some plan on the road shows to the export destinations and or any new plan to facilitate the export. Yes.
Thank you very much. To be brief, if you look at our website, in the coming year, I mean in 23-24 fiscal year, we will be participating around 70 trade fairs around the globe. And we have, in this calendar, on apparel sector, if I am not wrong, we have targeted roughly 15 trade fairs. But this is not the end of the story. I mean, if some fair is not within the calendar, and if we get a proposal from BGMEA or any other authority, or sometimes we get a request from the embassy, then we examine it, and if we find it feasible and viable, then we also participate in that fair also. So if BGMEA has anything in mind in particular that you want to participate in one fair, for example, in India or in China or in Japan, you can approach us if it is not already in the fair calendar. Thank you.
Thank you. We think we got the questions, so we can take two more questions. I think a lot of hands, so yes. Could you give the volunteers the mic to the front row? Yes.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Ehsan Haq. I'm a director of Nitex Industries Limited. So my question is for Dr. Byrne. Dr. Byrne, we've met before. It's a pleasure to see you again. Great seeing you here on this platform. So I just heard what you said last about focusing on value-added products, right? And we've been trying to focus our marketing a lot on value-added products in the past couple of months, let's say, or this year primarily. One issue that I face, especially when I'm trying to deal with, let's say, American customers or let's say higher-end brands, is that the stigma of, let's say, sourcing from Bangladesh, or the lack of trust, let's say, or the initial barrier. So I suppose my question, now boiling down in summary, is what advice would you give us, having observed us, that what can we do better to market ourselves to win over that trust? Because we can fly over to America or Italy and speak to all these customers and stuff, but they wouldn't necessarily trust us unless we get them here in Bangladesh, walk around factories, showcase what we have done, how far we've come. So I just want to hear your thoughts regarding this approach as how we can secure more of this line of business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good to see you here and your friends. And I think it's people like you and Mostafis who can do this. Because what you say is, I think Bangladesh has already done a lot. And let's face it, this was Rana Plaza, and I say this was 10 years ago, and this was a bit like the ground zero for the country in terms of, let's say, branding. And what Bangladesh has done since in the 10 years, it has become a world leader in green factories. So you managed to turn this image around when it comes to green factory production. And I think what you should do on top of this, do the same when it comes to labor rights and due diligence. So that in the end, when you go somewhere, Bangladesh as a brand, you will have a complete rebrand. You will not be the Rana Plaza country anymore, but you will be the country that has the most green factories and maybe the best labor standards and the highest due diligence. And if you manage to do that, I think then if you create this brand, and again, Mostafis is a person who does that, you guys are persons who do that, if you all this exhibition you do and other exhibitions will contribute to that. And then, and I said it earlier, I have no worries about the future of the Bangladeshi apparel industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. I think most of us also want to ask question. And this is the last question we'll be taking.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone who is sitting quite a long time over here. Thanks for your patience. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Abdul Rahim Khan and Mr. Hassan to be here from EPB and from Ministry of Commerce. You perfectly said that you being here for the first time. So, sir, you can imagine how much effort I need to put to be here and how happy I am because you are here for the very first time. So let's put a big clap for that. The reason for a big clap is like when we go to the Western countries, talk to the brands, retailers, and the manufacturers, who quite often we hear that people is speaking, you can't change your country, you can't change everything without the government support or the policy supports. So to change this narrative, we need always the government presence over there. And I think that our government, Bangladesh government, I'm quite often, I was invited in the trade ministry, I meet with a lot of people over there. And I see that even our Ministry of Foreign Affairs also, they are quite understandable about the business, where it gives me a lot of inspiration, because when our policymakers understand our business, then the things is becoming more easy. So I'm very thankful to both of you to be here, and I hope it will be continue. We will get your gracious presence all the time. While I was hearing the questions, our moderator, Mr. Omar Gyash, he asked that raise your hand who believe in of $100 billion on 2030. And I know many of you may be surprised that I didn't raise my hand. And yes, I don't believe it that we can achieve it. And I would like to ask two things, and I can also explain to you why I think it's not possible. But before that, I want to ask a question to Jia Bhai very directly. Our Honorable Additional Trade Secretary, Mr. Abdul Rahim Khan, said that if we don't have GSP in 2029, business will not have that much of impact. And being a brand, #1 brand and retailer who is purchasing from Bangladesh, I wanted to have your very clear perspectives over there. How do you think about these things? And I have second questions for Azim Bhai. You said that BGME is working on this to achieving this $100 billion industry by 2030. Terrific job. But I will request to you also that if we have a clear strategy and how we will achieve that and which stakeholder role is what. So we know to achieve this 2030 goal, brands have to do that, manufacturers have to do that, government have to contribute like that, and then we have a roadmap. So do BGME have a planning to create certain kind of roadmap and a strategy and roles and responsibility? Like I'm sure European Union, they also want to do something for Bangladesh, but I am also sure that they really don't have a very clear idea how they can be contributed in this journey. So these two questions I'm having. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhai. I'm happy that you asked me. First of all, when our moderator asks raise hand, who believe, and I raise hand twice as well from here. Two reasons. I think the entrepreneurship of this land is like huge. So if you look at last 40 years journey this industry has taken, in between time we have a Tazreen, we have a Rana Plaza, we overcome. There was a time when USA was the quota as well, that went out, now we are. But it has the other side of the coin also. These are the success story. Well, USA grow for many other reasons. Geopolitically, another factor. I don't want to go too deeper. I think it's every day where you can see that geopolitical issue. Many of the brands has to come here. It's a great sourcing destination. But what I was saying earlier, last 20 years journey versus next even 10 years journey will be very different. We really need to look at what you are producing today. The product came in Bangladesh 20 years ago. Basic t-shirt, basic shirt. I told it earlier, it will be repetitive. We should look into it that should you do it this way versus should you do it differently. We really want to see, I think we really need to see that how many transactions we're doing. Is it only one transaction? Fabric came, we cut and sew. I don't think we can limit there. We really need to understand the full scope of the pie and then who takes what role. By considering that, I am a firm believer this will happen. We start talking about man-made fiber probably in a couple of months. And if I look at our supply chain, we start seeing that a lot of things are happening. Well, man-made fiber has become popular, but if you look at our supply chain, we don't produce the fabric. If you look into that, if you look into a little bit even behind that who does what, due to geopolitical, lot of things are happening, can I even capitalize it? Who are the manufacturer, the factories, can you bring from China, Taiwan to here? I was very happy to see that the BGME was leading a tour in Taiwan and Japan and Korea as well in connection to this. So I think I'm a firm believer about that. Well, to answer what our Honorable Secretary, Mr. Secretary says, I would say our product will be expensive. So that's one way of seeing things. All of a sudden, our product that we produce here will start competing with Vietnam and Cambodia and India, you name it. So that's one way of seeing things. But in the other way, if we don't get ready, it will be a very tough journey. We can't take it granted that things will happen. It's no more like this, because I still remember one of the merchandiser, I used to go to, instead of a buyer's office, we used to go to, we had Shonarga Hotel, you know. The buyers come with the briefcase to the border and you open and we get order. This mentality, and I talked about before, that we should act as a middle income citizen as well. That's a mindset. That buyer will not come here. We need to go there. And it's not taking a ticket. We need to prepare ourselves, our product development, our innovation, and then we offer, hey, this is happening there. Other, the manufacturer, other countries are offering, this we are offering from us. This salesmanship needs to be improved. Our human resource that I talked, that needs to be improved. If we talk about of course we have education, a lot of barriers and other. We really need to connect there as well. If we look at, and I said it the organization earlier also, and okay, I grow up in this country as well, and I grow up with this country's ecosystem as well. The weakest merchandiser become the R&D of the factory. That's a harsh reality for us. And if we give them the responsibility of innovation, I'm so sorry. I think that's a wrong choice, So I think we really need to understand and value that. This is very important. I'm a firm believer, looking into last 40 years journey, the next journey will be different. And obviously the trade benefit will be different. Maybe we'll not have GSP. I agree with that, because the country should go on, because this journey they're taking with middle income country, it should go on. Maybe we should look into the FTA with the different countries. A lot of countries has a bilateral agreement, the FTAs and other. We should look into those things. But I want to stop it here that the journey will be very different. We just cannot sit back like in Hotel Shonarga, buyer will come and place order. Then we are very wrong. We are kind of fooling ourselves. Thank you so much for listening and asking this question.
Yeah, so Ajim sir.
Thank you, Javai. You have rightly said. We have started our journey with only 600 workers and $12,000 export in mid-80s. And now we are exporting, till now I think $47 billion. And it was not happened overnight. We have resilient entrepreneurs, vibrant workforce, and also we have got time-worthy support from our government policy support. So all these are combined effort of all these things. So now we have to think about the global demand. Neither we are raw material growing country, nor we are making any man-made fiber so far. We have to go for that one, and as per global demand, we have to make strength ourselves. And I have my colleague from the Ministry of Commerce, big bosses are here. So they are also go with that. We have any plan for the FTA or bilateral agreement, something like Vietnam has done with the European Union. So I don't know why we are sitting. We have to go for that one also, because that will be our advantage for us. I hope government working for these issues. Even India, they have the FTA agreement with Brazil, and now they are going for Australia, New Zealand. From our end, we won't leave any stone unturned. We are trying our best. There is a lot of technology adaptation, there is a lot of skill development things are going on. I hope if we combinedly do this job with our government, with our entrepreneurs, our workforce, and also, of course, with our customers, we can achieve, at least we can go close to $100 billion by 2020. Thank you.
Yes, I think Bernd also want to add something.
I have to respond to the FTA question because I hear it very often. And I'm sorry if I disappoint people, but from the European Union side, you have to clearly say that an FTA at this point in time is not on the menu. It's just not on the menu in Brussels. Because FTA means, by the way, we don't have too many FTAs. Huh? We have one with Singapore, we have one with Vietnam, but we haven't gotten one with the US because we have not reached an agreement on this. We have not reached an agreement on many FTAs because it's a very high value. It also means having an FTA that other branches have to completely open up. And Bangladesh is very successful in its garment sector, but the market, it would mean that the market, all the branches would have to open up, that all the tariffs have to come down. So to say this clearly, FTA for the time being is not on the menu. The best show, as Ambassador Charles always says, the only show in town is GSP+. And this is really low-hanging fruit. We see that from it's low-hanging fruit for Bangladesh to achieve. You get the best of both worlds without needing to fulfill too many conditions, which you would have to do for an FTA, to get all the benefits. So we can only say as European Union, please focus the energy on GSP+. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been very, very engaging and interesting discussion. So thank you so much to the panelists for your valuable time. Oh, okay, I think Mr. Abdul Rahim Khan want to add something. Yes.
Just one. I do agree with Bernd about FTA is not in the menu at the moment. You know, to conclude an FTA takes even 10 years. Of course, even in the Ministry of Commerce, we're not at the moment considering to initiate the FTA with EU. But about the low-hanging fruit, he is referring that GSP plus. Even this is not the time, I mean, when we have plenty room to, grow with productivity, to grow with circularity, to grow with what we call diversification within RMG and beyond RMG. The point I'm trying to make is that probably in my first leg, I was very critical. I mean, I was little, one way about GSP facilities. I don't disregard the advantage of GSP, but I'm trying to make the point that we now, as industry has grown so far that we now be competitive even without GSP. And after 29, we have to be there. That is the point. And of course, circularity and Green Deal from EU is coming in place. So we also have to deal with that Green Deal. And this is why in the Ministry of Commerce, we have initiated the circular economy cell, so that by 29, our RMG, and for this we are working with BGME and BKMEA. The main target is that by 29, our RMG, I mean whole amount of RMG, at least 25% would be coming from recycling, reusing, this sort of circular approach. So these are the ways probably we should promote. And man-made fiber, much talked issue, but the capital is the main issue in man-made fiber. Because for man-made fiber, we need huge capital-intensive investment in RMG. So FDI, technology transfer, both probably is going to play the music for man-made fiber. And also policy support is there. In principle, the National Steering Committee for Export, headed by Honorable Prime Minister, in principle agreed to facilitate and give the policy support for man-made fiber over the next 6, 5, 10 years. With this, now I am going to stop by saying those who did not raise hand, including Mr. Mustafiz, I am optimist for their, for them, because they are very cautious and they are now thinking how to turn around the table. So that's the magic Bangladesh is going to orchestra. Thank you.